All right, we're back, baby.
Oh, yeah.
The A24 Pod.
The
Back
A24
for
Pod.
real this time.
Not podcast. Pod.
Episode 3.
Episode
baby.
3. Week
Trace.
13. Don't try to add it up.
We're here. And we're queer.
Oh,
God.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
no, the
Okay.
comments.
That's
no.
bad.
Our
I saw a
comments
thing on
section
Instagram
got
today
lit up.
that there was like some British UK rapper, and like he's being put on blast, as the kids say, because during his live, there's this snippet which everyone recorded of like this his other friend coming over like to the side of him and like kind of like it looked like he was gonna lean in and kiss the guy,
Yeah.
and then he like the guy kind of like he didn't overreact but like kind of leaned back, and I didn't know what he was saying because it was like muted or whatever. And then like Young Thug, the rapper,
Yeah.
like he was like he's supposedly been really sus or suspect, as the kids call for a while now.
Really?
Like backed him up and like said like, oh, like why is the internet going crazy? I'll have to show you because it is kind of weird.
Oh.
The world's sensitive nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, thanks,
they are.
Chase. That's millennial talk with Chase.
Yeah. Well, now we're going
Thank
to
you.
talk about people's point of view on Ariel being African American.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Her name is, what is it? Halle Bailey?
And
And
yeah.
it's like close to
See, I
Halle
saw
Berry.
someone like posted a thing and it made so much sense, and it was like, the 3 people that actually complained about it, and then it said then it's like the internet, which is like you see all these articles that are like, this is ridiculous while people are complaining. I haven't seen one article of people legitimately complaining.
Yeah,
cares?
the internet gives the 1% a voice, and that's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You're
But
just
it's like-
hearing. No, most people aren't offended. The 1% that is offended are the ones that are being heard,
Yeah.
and that's
It's
why
just
you get to listen to us.
Yeah, baby. All right, this week on episode 3, we'll be talking about A24's newest movie, Midsommar.
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 When's that take place? Winter?
No, Midsommar.
Oh, it's about Midsummer. Oh, okay.
Midsommar.
It's the second movie. Well, actually, I'm not quite sure if is it his second movie?
Yeah.
With A24.
What I read, it said that like his trademark between the 2 movies, but I don't know if he's done something outside of.
Well, it's Ari Aster, and it's his second movie. His first one was Hereditary. Great
Yeah.
flick.
Yep.
We'll be
Disturbing
doing that.
flick. Yeah, we'll
Very
be doing
disturbing.
that in the distant future. Wait, near distant?
Near
Distant.
distant.
Yeah,
Okay,
close
anyway.
future.
Probably like
Close
3
future.
weeks.
Jesus, we're on fucking point today.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Rocking and rolling.
All right, and it stars. Let's see who it stars. Who do you guys think stars in it?
There's only
Name
one.
some names.
There's only one American, and I don't know their name.
It
Everyone
stars
else
Florence
is-
Pugh as Danny,
Yeah.
Jack Reiner from Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Remember, he's the daughter of Mark Wahlberg's
He's
boyfriend.
the boyfriend.
Yeah.
with the-
And he
with the
whips out that
Subaru.
card, and he's like, "I
Wait,
can date
who
her
does
because
he?
of the
Is
law."
he Christian in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then you got William Jackson Harper's Josh, who's the I think black friend.
Yeah.
Will Poulter as Mark, and then you got Wilhelm Blomgren as
Pele.
Pele,
Yeah.
and then other people that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Swedish.
Never
people.
heard of any of those other people either, but all right.
Yeah. Well, Will Poulter's been in some stuff. The guy who plays the friend
Yeah.
who gets the least amount of screen
You
time.
mean eyebrows?
Yeah, I read.
Oh yeah.
He's been in a lot
He
of
was
stuff.
in
Narnia. Was he in Narnia?
that
He
Netflix,
was in Narnia,
the Black
yep.
Mirror Netflix show.
He was in Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch.
Wasn't he
Bandersnatch.
also in the RV movie, the fucking Millers?
Yep. We Are the Millers.
That's
We
right.
Are the
Yeah,
Millers.
he was like the only one I recognized.
He was
Yeah.
supposed to be the it clown.
Well, the
Oh yeah. Right.
the African American gentleman actor,
Josh.
Josh. I've seen him in some stuff too.
He looks familiar. I can't think of anything. he's
I
done.
can't either, but he's been in something.
Well, that's the cast. All right, let's talk about the plot.
All right.
All right.
What kind of plot you got there?
Let's look at the plot here. Man, I'm sweating.
Sweating it up.
It's like 80 degrees down here.
feel
Really?
great.
I'm not even that.
I feel
Here,
great.
Let me put this on you because I don't even.
Yeah, turn the fan on me. There we go. Ooh. Yeah, I can feel it already.
I don't
All right.
bad.
The movie starts off with college student Danny, and you can tell she suffers from some sort of anxiety, and her sister is bipolar, and she's all worried about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she takes Ativan. That's what they show her taking
What
at
is
the
that?
beginning.
Was
It's
that sleeping?
antidepressant.
Oh, is
you
it?
can tell
Oh,
that
yeah.
she's suffering
Yeah.
from depression and stuff, and she's all worried about her sister, and she's calling her boyfriend, and she's all a nervous wreck, and then it shows the boyfriend, right, and he's talking with his
He's
friends,
hanging out with the bros.
hanging out with
Yeah.
the boys, and you can tell that he wants to break up with her,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, he's basically like a day away from breaking up with her.
yeah, like he was
Yeah.
literally about to.
Yeah.
But then it cuts to the sister and who kills herself and her parents
Yeah.
in a disturbing scene.
Yeah, where'd she
Right.
get all those
Disturbing.
hoses?
I don't know, but that right there, like the movie starts off, you're like, what is this? Like a rom-com?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden
yeah.
it cuts to that, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
like,
it was heavy.
yeah,
Yeah,
heavy shit.
because she had the
Like those are some long industrial hoses.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not easy to get.
Yeah, because she had that was just like
Yeah, she took the cars in the garage and like duct taped hoses to the exhausts.
yeah.
And ran the hoses up to their bedroom while the parents were sleeping, dead.
Yeah.
And then she duct taped the other hose to her
Yeah.
face.
To her head.
that's
which
what was really
That
disturbing.
was really disturbing.
It wasn't just
yeah.
like her room and did the same thing, like you just die in your sleep, whatever, peaceful. She like
Yeah,
it
and
was like all like shitload of duct tape, and it was like oh
and it was the way it played out too.
Mm.
Yeah.
How it was like that, just the quick introducing of the characters, and then like them showing you a potential conflict.
And you can tell something's maybe up with the
Oh,
sister.
maybe this is gonna have something to do with something.
Yeah.
But then they like, I feel
They
like
waste no time.
A24 movies love to do that. Like show you at least one scene that is like just absolutely horrific that you will not forget.
yeah.
Like in Hereditary when she
Oh, this director, Ari Aster, he literally loves showing you just like disturbing imagery.
just the
I swear.
most
Yeah.
disturbing scene.
Yeah, like there's a scene in Hereditary. I mean, I don't want to spoil it because Chase hasn't seen it yet. We'll talk about it.
The driving?
when we do that. Yeah, the driving
yeah,
scene.
yeah.
If you've seen that movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. But like, he does not shy away from just showing you it. Like,
Yeah.
and all right, so her sister and her parents die, and then it cuts to like 6 months later, right?
Yep.
And they're still together.
Yeah.
Her and her boyfriend, and you can tell their relationship sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's still very depressed, always sleeping.
Yeah, needy.
Yeah.
You know, which she has every right to be, but she's a little needy, and the boyfriend feels stuck.
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right?
because he was gonna dump her, but now he feels obligated to stay with her because of her tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they go to a party, and he brings the girlfriend along with his bros. And they're all talking, and they're talking about how they're going to go to Sweden for a Midsommar festival with their friend Pele, who's from there.
Yep.
And the girlfriend, the main character Danny, is all bent out of shape because she didn't know.
Oh yeah, then that's when it reveals that the boyfriend's gonna go.
Yeah, the boyfriend's going to
And
go.
she's upset, and they have the conversation back at the apartment.
Yeah, they go home, and she's all upset, and then the boyfriend feels guilty, so he invites her.
Yep.
So then he goes to his friend's house. They're hanging out. No, I think it was his apartment, actually. They're all in his apartment. And
Yeah,
she's coming
yeah.
over, and he tells all his friends, like, yeah, she's coming. And then she comes in,
Yeah.
Oh right.
and
yeah.
they're all like, okay. Like,
they're
Yeah.
all pissed off.
yeah,
Because he invited his girlfriend without asking them.
yeah. And then they pretty much waste no time, right? All of a sudden, they're on a plane, and they're going there.
Yeah.
And then,
They get there.
yeah, then there's a driving scene with some really cool cinematography of, like, the camera following the car, then rotating over the car to being upside down, and then showing the road.
Some cool cinematography.
Some cool
scenes,
images of like Swedish like
weird
nature.
like noise, ambient noise mixed with silence, and then weird music.
It was almost like after the fact now looking back, like introducing you or like foreshadowing that they're getting into a really out of
Things
this
are going to
world.
be twisted.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And then
they-
the next scene was when Chase had to tell the guy behind us to shut up
Oh yeah, in the
because
movie
he wouldn't
theater.
stop talking.
oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
let's get this out of the way. All right, the people behind us would not stop talking for about the first 20 minutes.
It was bad.
It was
Yeah.
so bad. We were all like,
It was like this
Gonna
nerdy
freak out.
kind of like dweeby guy, and then like this other kind of dweeby woman, which was, I say that because of the things they were saying. And Mike put it perfectly, was like, are they aliens? Because the stuff they were saying was like they've never been out of their house, and this was the first movie they've ever been
That
to.
was
Yeah.
so annoying.
it's like
Oh.
their ship from their space
Yeah.
space cruiser went down to Earth. They landed and
It
went
beamed
right
them-
to the movies.
beamed
Yeah.
him directly into
They
the
had
theater.
no idea what Midsommar was. This
Yeah.
movie.
No.
They had no clue what they were getting into.
And then this, like the scene we were just describing with the upside down, he's literally goes, "Oh, that's a cool effect. You know how they do that? They just tipped it upside down."
And they're
Yeah,
talking almost,
And it's like literally, like, yeah, the scene is upside down. I can fucking see it, dude.
Yeah.
they're almost talking with normal voices.
And then they go,
Yeah.
and then they
barely
go,
a whisper.
and then there's
Yeah.
a cow, and they go, "Oh, a cow." They're literally
They're like, "I love
describing
Sweden."
everything. I love Sweden. And then the guy goes, "I like this movie," and she goes, "Yeah, me too."
Oh,
Just talking out loud while
Yeah.
it's a packed theater. You know what I mean? And
they
just,
were like speaking basically with normal
And
voices.
like, I was getting so upset. I was getting fidgety, and then like I could see the people in front of us could hear them.
Yeah.
The people next to me could hear them. It was so awkward. And finally,
It
Chase
was ridiculous.
just turns around. He goes, "Hey, I'm sorry, but you're not the only one watching this movie."
And
it was
enough.
perfect.
And it was enough for them
Perfect.
to stop.
Perfectly polite, just assertive enough. The guy, they didn't make another noise for the next 2 hours. Dude.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, because that was the thing too. This movie was 2.5 hours, so all of
Yeah.
us in our heads were thinking, okay. Typically, when people start talking in the beginning, you give them a little bit of time to
Yeah,
kind of
then they quiet. They get into it. They quiet down.
Yeah, and there were some funny scenes with the mushrooms and stuff, so they kind of were laughing. I was like, all right, whatever. But then there's like the continuing of comments and like you said, talking like normal voices.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
and I was like thinking, okay, what am I gonna say? Because I don't want to just tell them to fuck off because it'll create a thing and it'll just be awkward.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, yeah, just you're not the only person, because that's what I felt like. It's like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, it was
Oh,
perfect.
God.
It was
Ugh.
perfect. What I was gonna say was not gonna be as
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I was
Like-
gonna turn around and freak out.
yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't.
My
sit,
blood was boiling.
I couldn't sit still.
No,
I was like leaning forward, leaning back, moving. Like I was just
Yeah.
like, they have to see him. And the guy was directly behind me,
Oh,
and I'm like,
yeah.
he has to see that I'm visually upset.
I don't see, and that's the thing I was hoping, because even myself, there was at one point I turned around and stared at him, and then turned back around.
Yeah, you did.
I
Yeah.
like shook my head a couple times, and like trying to give these like passive aggressive cues to be like, okay,
No,
just
they
shut
were
the
in
fuck
their
up.
own world.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
It
totally.
was not this world.
No, it wasn't.
It was outer world.
Yeah.
I should just turn around and said, you know what? You two are a red box couple.
Yeah.
You should not be in a theater
Yeah.
together.
Then you get up like, here's your money back. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
All right, so
Anyhow,
where were we? All right, so they're driving.
they get there.
They get
they
there.
get
It's
there.
all nice green
It's
fields.
the pre area.
Yeah, it's like the pre-area to the nice festival.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
They're just like before there.
Yeah,
like
so
in a couple
Pele's
fields.
introducing them to his friends and family, and like
Yeah,
the
they're
guy
all
he calls
Swedish people.
yeah, all
Yeah,
Swedish
yeah.
people. The guy he calls his brother, what's his name, Ingram or something like
Yeah.
that.
And I actually thought it was his brother.
Yeah, no, he's
I was like, oh, it's his brother. But then like later on when he was like, my sister. And then this, I was like,
They're all
oh,
brothers and sisters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you start to
yeah.
get it. Yeah.
but so he's introduced to them, and his brother Ingram, whatever his name was, he brought two people, a British couple.
Mhm.
So they're all hanging out. They do mushrooms.
Yeah, they pull the mushrooms out.
Yeah,
It was a
trippy
good scene again because like Danny didn't want to take him because she's still a little fucked. She's still fucked in the head about everything, and then everyone else is gonna take him. She was just gonna take him later, and then the boyfriend actually made an attempt at that point to try.
Yeah.
I think that was probably one of the nicest things he did in the whole movie to her. Was like, oh, okay, I'll just take my mushrooms later as well. And then of course Bandersnatch is all upset.
But at the same time, it was like guys like, I'm gonna do it later with her. It's kind. I don't know. He's kind of in a weird situation. He's kind of
Yeah, because like what he said, he was like, yeah, but then we're gonna be not tripping together, which is totally true. Like when you trip,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't
true.
want to trip with people
Yeah.
that are halfway through their trip.
this
You-
is the
you
opportunity
do it
to
together.
trip. Like
Yeah.
we're doing it now, or
Yeah.
we're probably not gonna do it.
And then
later.
Danny did the right thing, and she just kind of
Yeah,
caved
she
and
went
was
with
like,
the
all right, I'll
group.
do it.
Yeah. So then, like, yeah, the cool. Once again, cool cinematography with like the waviness and like all the trees.
Yeah, this movie
and,
did like drugs
and some
really
good shots
well.
of like when she was high on the mushroom. She looks down and there's like grass growing out of her feet.
Yeah,
yeah,
those
like
are
becoming
crazy
yeah,
stuff.
becoming one. Yeah,
So she freaks out. She
because like
starts.
textures blend.
Yeah.
Like, textures blend over borders really easily when you're tripping.
Yeah.
There's some good comedy. The movie does in the first hour. There's some good comedy. You know, with the banter.
Yeah, the whole
between them
movie
all.
actually had like humorous tones.
It's lighter tone because like it is a horror movie in broad daylight. So there
Yeah.
is like lighter tones. Like even like some of the graphic stuff later in the movie, like it's still not like it does. The movie never jumps to the point of like everybody's freaking out and there's like cannibal. You know, it's not like
Yeah, like
it
Yeah.
doesn't jump to straight
like
goriness.
Blair
you know?
Witch.
Yeah, where shit hits the fan in the last like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and there's like, oh, they wake up and then all
Yeah.
the crosses and it's still
Yeah.
daytime. And like, that's when it just absolutely goes insane. This movie never does
No,
that.
and there's like not even a scene really besides the British. Well, we're jumping ahead, but let's just say when we get to it, there's not many scenes of like people fucking crying, like in Blair Witch when the girl's crying and like
Yeah, I
You know
mean,
what I'm
they
saying?
do show emotion very
There's
well. in this.
emotion, yeah,
they show
but
human emotion.
there's no
pretty good
over
in
the
this movie.
topness. Like
Yeah.
we'll
But-
get to it. We're jumping a little ahead.
But this movie does a really good job of being super, like, mildly toned, but yet showing you the most disturbing things you've ever seen. But then just staying mild toned, like.
Yeah, it was almost like it would introduce something crazy and then bring you back down.
Yeah,
Do something
yeah.
crazy, then bring you back
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Like almost like center you back down.
Oh, the Pele's brother was Ingemar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
That was close. All right, so they're tripping, and then she runs away.
She starts
She's
to have a
freaking
bad
out.
trip. Yeah.
Yeah, then she wakes up after sleeping. And then what happens next? They go.
Then they go to.
Yeah, then they go to the where they're all
What was it
living,
called?
right? All the barns where they're
Yeah, I
living
forget what it was called. Not Midsommar. That was the festival name, but that place had a name.
It doesn't say here. Yeah,
I
it doesn't.
forget what it was. It was like.
It doesn't say here. It does. I do have the name. The first ritual after them hanging out. Everything seems normal at first. They're hanging out with them in with the barns and stuff like that. Everything seems normal.
Yeah, you can tell like they're catering to the guests a lot in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the movie, it's like almost like the guests aren't being catered to anymore. And it's just like the ongoings of the festival, and like they're just left to like try to figure out and catch up.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, they're like, "Oh, hi!" They're like taking their bags, and it's like, "Yeah, you're a guest here."
Yeah. Trying to make.
But then no. All right. So the first ritual that they witness is called the Adastupa ritual. That's what the name was. Where
And they cut the hands.
Where before that, they're all sitting at the table, right? And it's a huge outdoor table with like all of them who live there, and they're waiting to eat. And then they bring out the two eldest people part of the festival.
Yeah.
And they hinted at it that, like, when you get over the age of 72, like
when you turn 72.
when you turn 72, it's like basically at the end of like your lifespan in this community.
Yeah.
And they don't really tell you what happens, but then when you witness it in the first ritual,
Yeah.
that what happens during the Midsummer, if you're at the age of the Midsummer Festival, right? Because they only do this every 90 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what happens when you're 72?
That's what
not Midsummer.
That's what I was wondering.
There is some holes
okay.
in the plot. I feel like.
Yeah, because
there's a couple things like what Chase had mentioned earlier, and then what you're mentioning now.
Yeah.
Which all are kind of like one big plot hole in the thing.
All right. So anyway, the first ritual, they bring out the two eldest people. They have lunch.
Yeah. Before that's when they're all in the community room with all the beds, and they're putting their gear down, and he tells them what I thought was really interesting was like the age bracket thing. That was right before the dinner scene where he tells you like when you're, man, I'm just gonna struggle to remember this, but when you're younger, you're in spring.
I can't remember, to be honest.
It's like brackets of age is seasons of your life, and so when you're young, you're in spring, and then when you're between like 18 and 36, you're in summer or something like that, and you're allowed to like those are the people that are allowed to leave, like Pele and his brother. You're allowed to actually leave and go explore and bring people back. And then when you turn 36 to whatever it was,
50 something
to 50 something, you're a worker, and you basically just have work. And then after 56, you become a mentor. And then he was like, and then that's to 72, and then one of them, I think Danny actually asked, "What happens when you're 72?" And he made like the hand chopping at the neck motion,
jokingly, but let's So in the first ritual, the two elders, they carry them on these chairs.
Those blue fucking carved chairs.
Yeah.
And they bring them to a cliff, and then they cut their hands, and then they one at a time stand on the cliff, and they just jump to their death.
Yeah,
it's very graphic.
Well, they pray to that rune.
Yeah,
that big rune.
Yeah, they smear the blood on it.
It's like one of the rememberable scenes from the preview with the bloody handprints going down the rune. That Nordic shit or whatever.
So first, the woman drops. The older woman drops. She smashes her face on a rock, and they show it.
Yeah,
it's like it's like a Lion King cliff where it's like a peak cliff, and they come to the end of it, and everyone's just standing there in their white robes, their hands out, and then the guests are all kind of like, what the fuck's gonna go on here? And then she just does it, dude. She just belly flops, perfect form.
It's so graphic. Her face is literally just
her front of her head explodes.
They show everything. And then the guy goes, his turn.
The old guy goes, and he botches it.
Jumps straight down.
Like he pencil dives.
Pencil
dives.
What
are you doing, dude?
And his fucking legs snap.
His legs are mangled.
Yeah.
And then they have this big giant mallet, and they take turns smashing his face into a fucking bloody
five
pulp.
people walk up in a line, and they go one by one.
Yeah, the first
and he was dead after the first hit, and the second hit just collapsed his skull.
Yeah,
and then the third hit was like just them hitting rock.
Yeah.
So this is that right then and there. It's like the Americans and then the two British people. They start kind of freaking out, and the British people are legit freaking out.
Yeah,
they want to leave immediately.
Yeah, so, the guy loses it.
Yeah, so once the ritual's over, they're going back, and like Danny's considering leaving, and the black friend and then the boyfriend like are doing it for their thesis.
Yeah.
Like the black friend is doing it as his thesis, but then the boyfriend Christian, you know, he didn't know what his thesis was, but then while they're there, he just says, "I'm going to do this as my thesis."
Decides, yeah.
So, but anywho, so the British couple wants to leave, and they're freaking out, and they pack up, and then all of a sudden the boyfriend disappears, and they lie to him, and they're like, "Oh, your boyfriend got taken."
In the truck.
There's only one seat, so he's gonna go. Then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna take you next.
Yeah, but it was weird that he wouldn't come and tell her.
Yeah,
hey, we have to split up.
Yeah.
And
like,
if they were gonna do that, you think the girl would go first, and the guy would stay.
Yeah.
Wait.
And Danny starts to recognize, like, wow, this is something's
odd.
off here.
Yeah.
So what happens? The boyfriend disappears, and then Connie. Was her name Connie? Yeah, it is Connie. It was Simon and Connie, the British couple.
Oh, okay.
So then Connie gets taken by, I'm assuming a mentor, right? The age range. One of the mentors says, "Oh, come with me, and I'll bring you to the truck." I don't know what he said.
Yeah.
And then she disappears.
You never see her again.
Never see her again until the very end when you see something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then right after that is when Christian and Josh, they have the argument over the thesis.
Yep.
Yeah, and like Christian out of nowhere
He goes and tells him, "Hey, I'm going to do my thesis on this," which is super fucked because the kid Josh literally planned this whole trip.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I made the trip and then I invited you guys to come, and now you're telling me that you're going to bite my idea.
Yeah,
like, that's fucked.
It's kind of
I
showing
put all the work
it's
into
kind of
this.
showing Christian's like character.
His character,
almost.
Yeah, he's very
he's kind of a
selfish.
douche.
Super selfish.
Yeah,
super
selfish.
lazy.
Yeah, lazy, definitely. And like earlier in the movie, or I think right when they get there, right? It's Danny's birthday, the main character, and Pele. He gets her a little present, like a picture that he drew of her.
Yeah.
And then
they show him drawing all throughout the whole
he's always
movie.
drawing.
Yeah.
So then, like, it kind of implies that Christian, the boyfriend, forgot her birthday.
Yeah.
But then he ends up getting her a birthday.
And you can. That's when I started to realize that Pele had feelings for Danny.
Yeah.
And you could tell there was something there. He was trying
to
plant the seed.
So Josh and Christian are going to do their college thesis on this community. So then, like, the whole next, like, probably 20 minutes is them kind of like, you know, like interviewing people, like just hanging out, like watching how they live. And then Josh gets shown the book that they all live
because
by.
Pele finds out. I was weird. I was kind of confused there for a second because it seemed like he knew the whole time that Josh was doing this as his thesis, but then acted like it was a big deal when he came to him and was like, hey Pele, like, don't let Christian do this. Like, I'm doing this. Like, if he asks questions and stuff, like, this is my thesis. And he's like, whoa, you can't write any of this down. And it's like, don't you know what a thesis is? Like,
yeah. It's definitely like, he definitely changed.
And he's like, oh, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, I already told Christian that he can't do this. And then he's like, wait, you talked to Christian when he had just told me didn't talk to Christian.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, and then you start to see the deception going on.
Yeah.
The curtain being pulled in front of their eyes. And then he tells them, oh, you can do it. The elders said it's okay because we don't plan on letting you guys leave.
So then
You're
Josh,
not going anywhere.
he gets to watch like an elder like flip through like their like ritual book,
their Bibles,
like, pretty much their Bible of their. But there's like tons of like all the walls are filled with them. He says that it's continually evolving, and then that it's actually created by the incestual born, who has a really messed up face, like he's a deformed, disabled.
He looks
person.
like what's his face from the Goonies.
Not Chunk. That's the little fat kid. What is his name? Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he looks
like him, like all deformed.
And all they do is take paint and he just splatters paint on a piece of paper, and then the elders are the ones who interpret.
Yeah.
The elders are making the rules.
They might do some of those oracles, basically the inbred, the product of incest. I wonder if they do different things because I think he said too the priest was like Ronnie. Was it Ronnie was the name of the special needs kid? Yeah. He was like, well, Ronnie paints for us and then we interpret it. So I wonder too if there's like past ones that like maybe they shit on a piece of paper and they interpret that.
Oh, right.
You know, like
yeah.
they just whatever.
Yeah.
Little,
Yeah, and then the elders just get to make up whatever they want to make
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
It's like the fucking Scientology.
yeah.
Oh, I was told all this. Like, no, it's coming from you, dude.
So then the next major scene is Mark. He pees on like an ancestral tree.
What a dumbass, because they literally just showed them. The old people jump off the thing and kill themselves. They burn the bodies. They take the ash. You see them go over and start shoveling the ash. And then he's like, I gotta go take a piss. And he just stomps over to where they were literally just dumping the ashes.
Yeah.
And he just starts peeing.
Well, also, it's everything here is sacred. You can tell that like the people you're with are all very into this.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like,
It's
how
like, why
dumb
would you
are
just walk
Like,
over
how
to the
can you-
bushes and piss? Like,
In the
go to the
open.
trough or whatever the hell they
Yeah,
pee.
right.
You know?
Yeah, I would assume that
You can't catch on.
Any little bush could have some kind
Yeah.
of meaning.
So then people start freaking. One guy
One
points
guy
at him,
fucking
freaks the
loses
fuck
it,
out,
dude.
and he's
Yeah.
peeing on the tree. And then later at the next scene is like they're sitting at the dinner tables and the guy's staring at him.
Yeah,
all
so
Staring
pissed.
him down, dude.
Yeah. And that's when Mark, the girl he's been kind of flirting with throughout the beginning of the movie, comes over, grabs him, and says, "Come with me." Ooh.
Yeah.
So like, oh, he's gonna get it on, but like,
Never see him again.
never see him again. So then that night, Josh, he wants to take pictures of the
Josh
ritual
gets a
book.
little intel hungry.
Yeah.
Because
He's
he asked the elder when he was showing him the book, "Can I take pictures?" And the elder was very like offended.
Yeah.
Closed the book immediately and was like, "No, you can't do that." So then late at night, he sneaks into the sacred fucking grounds and fucking just starts snapping pictures.
Yeah. And then you see, it's actually kind of scary. Like there's a mirror in front of him and you see like a dude standing there and he starts walking towards him. He's like, Mark. And it's a naked dude with his dick out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden he gets hit in the head by someone else and he fucking flips over and he's looking up and it's fucking a dude wearing Mark's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder who that was.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who.
I was wondering if
Yeah, I
maybe
wonder.
it was the guy that was pissed that he pissed on the tree.
That's if you could pick one dude out of all of them, it's
It would-
probably the guy.
Yeah.
But he's not the guy who killed him.
Well, I don't know. Wait, the naked dude or the dude wearing the mask?
Somebody else killed him.
Oh yeah.
He got
Yeah,
hit in the
yeah.
back of the head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But who was the guy wearing?
Oh, yeah.
Who's the guy who filleted Mark?
Oh, I don't.
You know what I mean?
That I
Like-
have no fucking
Yeah.
idea.
Or no, right? They say it. The kids
Mhm.
when they first get there, the children are playing fillet the fool,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, sounds like a fun game." I bet that's what happened.
So then he gets dragged out of the building. Then it goes to the next day, and they the next day people are freaking out like, "Oh, the book's missing."
Mm.
You know, if whoever has it, just bring it back. We won't look.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody's missing except for pretty much Christian and Danny at this point.
Yeah.
Literally the last people there. So then Danny's involved in a dancing competition where whoever wins is crowned the May Queen,
Mm.
which is like the queen of the ball. You know, they get to wear
Yeah. The
the
headdress.
flower
thing.
headdress.
Headdress, yeah.
And
You know
So
what I did think though, like the next morning, right after those, like those two guys get killed or whatever, was that when they asked where they went, when they said where's the book and then where are they, it made me think. I'm like, wait, maybe there's only like a small like set like group of these people that are really crazy. Because it kind of seemed.
I was thinking the same. I was like, I wonder if I wonder if there's like ancestral born disfigured people like hidden somewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
Because at first I didn't know like that it was a guy's wearing a face,
yeah.
and I was like, is he either that or is he deformed? I couldn't fully tell
Yeah.
because it happened so quick.
Yeah.
And
I
they
was slightly
played
disturbed,
it
so-
off right where they were like pretending like the book was missing and
Yeah.
then where are your friends? So I was like, oh shit, so maybe it is only like a few people.
No.
Like you'll find out, but
Yeah, like the book was never missing.
yeah.
They just said that to
Yeah.
them to make them think that
Maybe
this
they
is
ran
why your
off.
friends are gone.
Yeah, like your friend ran off with the book.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also noticed a lot in the movie when someone would go missing and then someone would ask a question, like a random person would jump in and be like, "Oh, I'm the one that took him in the truck to the train station."
Yeah.
Like it was so like everybody knew.
Everybody had their back.
Everybody knew.
Everybody's
And everyone
involved
was
in
told
it.
what to say
Yeah.
and told what to do.
So she's doing the dancing competition, and everybody there drank something to where now they're tripping.
Yeah.
So she's tripping, dancing, craziness, and then Christian, who's been kind of getting flirted with like a redhead girl throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
She, like at one point they're eating meat pies, and it's a hair, and the friend Mark is like, "Oh, that's a pube,"
Yeah, yeah.
and like they look over and the red haired girl, like it implies that was her,
yeah.
because like earlier in the movie we were talking before we were recording that like there's a lot of like Swedish paintings and like
tapestries.
The part where I laughed the most was definitely when they're showing them the paintings.
Showing one long one that's telling a story.
Painting, and it's all of a sudden like a fucking vagina with a big bush.
Yeah.
And then it shows her trimming it.
Yeah.
And then
it's the love spell.
Yeah,
it's
the love spell.
Their love spell.
So the redhead's doing the love spell on Christian.
Choose a mate and fucking put him under.
Yeah. Get filled up.
And she's
filled up.
And like she put her period blood in his drink.
Yeah, his drink. I did notice his drink was darker.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
And then I just thought maybe it wasn't significant.
So then after Danny wins the dancing competition ritual, she gets taken. She's the May Queen. She gets taken to the dinner table. She's like in charge now. And she's all doped up. And then Christian's also doped up. And they're sitting there. And she gets taken away to go do some other ritual, which we'll talk about in a second. He gets lured into the mating house. Yeah. So then, but before we talk about that, let's talk about the May Queen, right? She gets taken and then to a ritual where they're like, I don't really know exactly what it meant, where they dig a hole, right?
That's probably real.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, that's probably like what is it? Swedish, like not pagan. I'm
not quite sure.
Nordic.
Yes.
They probably did that, like bury a cow's liver.
Yeah, it was like was it rice or was that grains?
It was probably grain.
It was like grain, then like a piece of meat.
That, too,
I think it was like a liver or something.
Now you bless our fields, our crops for the next year.
Oh, they're probably that makes sense.
I
They're
wouldn't
their
doubt
crops
if
in there
that is a
it.
real tradition from like way back.
Yeah,
in
like
the
the
day
May Queen is blessing the lands.
They would bury meat and like grain and like think that it blessed
like 90 more years of good harvest.
Right.
So she does that. She's with them, and then Christian goes into the mating house. Christian goes into the mating house, and it's all the naked women.
Yeah.
Standing there, and then the girl, the redhead, laying there
in a
bed of flowers.
Bed of flowers.
Naked.
And
then she opens up her legs in a cool camera angle where it's like from her point of view, showing her legs open.
Yeah.
And it's him standing there. And he walks forward, undresses. You see full blown dick,
full wang.
Yeah, very brave of him. Full dick.
Yeah, got a boner.
Then
and
it's
everything.
a crazy mating ritual.
Yeah,
where at first he's having sex with her, right? He kisses her, he's all into it. And then all of a sudden, the mom implies it's her mom, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Oh,
I would assume.
Yeah, but they said that the babies are separated from their mothers, and they're not supposed to like.
All right, so we're going. Maybe it wasn't her mom, but so one of them leans in and is like holding her hand, and they're all moaning.
They're singing.
And then all of a sudden they all start moaning.
Yeah.
And then also, then it's very loud moaning. And then all of a sudden, like an old lady goes up behind him, starts pushing his butt,
helping him
get
fuck.
the seed inside of her.
Yeah.
Then she's telling him to finish.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, finish." So then he comes inside of her. He immediately gets up and he's all like, "What the fuck?" And he runs out naked and he starts holding his dick. He's running around all crazy.
He's got blood all over his dick.
Yeah. Then he runs.
He's got
blood on his dick because it's like the first time ever having sex. Oof. So then he runs into like a random house to hide, and he turns around, and it's the fucking British dude from earlier, right?
Yeah.
And he's hanging by his skin on like hooks, and he's filleted open, and his lungs are also being
pulled out.
Like,
have you ever seen anything like that? Like in medieval, it's like that's a real medieval torture.
There was a movie or something
stretching
that I
out
heard
table.
about it. Yeah,
they would do that. They would fillet open your back and pull your lungs out from your back.
Was it Lord? No, was it Game of Thrones? There was some kind of like medieval movie show something in recent years, and they did that. Vikings.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That's what it was.
And they pulled the lungs out. That's a real thing.
It's got to be some sort of Nordic.
They leave you alive.
Yeah,
and your lungs are outside of
your body. It was like almost
inflating.
like an honor. It was some guy that did something really bad, but it was like the honorable way to die.
Yeah, it's called something.
It's called Blood Eagle.
Blood Eagle.
That's what this is right here. Dismembered as a blood eagle.
Yep, that's what it was.
So then he's hanging. He's freaking out. He's like, "What the fuck?" Then he turns around and gets an elder person blows like powder in his face.
Yeah.
And paralyzes him. Yeah.
So then it goes to the next scene. And it's a ritual where Danny's in the May Queen like ceremony where she's covered now head to toe in flowers.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And Christian's in a like an old fashioned wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he's like a vegetable
linen.
now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing some ritual where they're about to do the final ritual, which is like they put like Christian in a bear suit.
Yeah,
They take out all the guts of a bear and they put him inside the suit. It's like Tusk,
Yeah,
but
it was,
bear
yeah.
Tusk.
Her and the flowers reminded me of Tusk too.
Yeah, that was
Just
kind of
because she's
disturbing.
in this big basket of
Yeah.
flowers, like
She
and
like
it's
was
just
a
her
flower.
head sticking out of the top of
Yeah.
it, like with that weird. That crown kind of creeped me out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
With the
that one
fucking,
was
like,
it was like
spikes.
horny.
Yeah. It fucking kind of freaked me out, even though it was like beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like the most beautifully colored flowers.
Yeah. So that was dude. That
So
was,
then they do the conclusion of the final ritual where they go into the yellow house.
The yellow pyramid thing.
Yeah, the yellow pyramid house where they sacrifice 9 people. And it's the 4 outsiders, Josh, Mark, Connie, and Simon, 4 cult members, 2 unidentified elders from earlier who killed themselves, and then 2 living volunteers, and one of them happens to be Pele's brother,
Yeah.
Ingemar, and the final living victim, who's Christian in the bear outfit.
yeah.
So then that's a disturbing scene where they put them all in there, and then it finally shows like the friends where it's just their faces like flayed off their bodies onto like
They're
like
basically like
hay,
scarecrows.
like scarecrows
Yeah.
with like their midsection stuffed with like pears and fruits and
Yeah, it was
Apples
weird.
and
apples and
Yeah.
shit, and yeah, they burned the house down.
Mm.
And then they burn the house. Yeah.
Yeah,
To bless
one,
the land.
The one thing that was interesting too was like that the 2 people that like volunteered to burn themselves are
Yeah.
a part of the society.
Yeah.
Like the priest or whatever goes around and he gives them like a little mouthful
like
of
a
something.
swab.
Yeah, and he
of-
says like like no like
So
may
you
you
feel
feel
no
no
pain.
pain and this and
And
that.
then as soon as that fire touched that guy's
Yeah,
legs,
he's
he started
screaming.
freaking
Ah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
and they're
Bear
all
Suit-
dancing. They're
Yeah,
all-
then Bear Suit Boy was just sitting there because he obviously
Paralyzed.
was paralyzed.
he was fully he couldn't even move. He probably
Yeah.
like was feeling pain,
fully
but couldn't
sewn up in a bear, dude.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Weird. So then the guys, so they're screaming, and then they're all like screaming and dancing because they're like absorbing the pain. I'm
Yeah.
guessing of like
Yeah.
their fellow people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they did it earlier too when
She was
Danny was
freaking out.
crying, and then like same thing in the sex scene. Like they matched their like emotion / like whatever they were like screaming or their tone, and they would like did it together, like
Yeah,
to share
yeah.
it.
And before that, during the final ceremony, before the final ritual, like Danny was given a choice to either sacrifice Christian,
Yep.
Mhm.
right, or choose a lottery-winning lottery-winning villager.
Yeah.
So she chooses to sacrifice Christian, right?
Yeah.
She's looking at him. She's like,
Punishes them
crying a little bit.
for everything, basically.
Yeah, she punishes him for being like a terrible boyfriend, like
Mhm.
not being the best boyfriend he could be during the worst time
Not
of her
supporting
life.
her during her, not supporting her emotions.
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
like the place did.
Yeah. So then, so they die, and then she sobs in horror, and then gradually begins to smile.
Mhm.
That's like the final shot of the movie,
Yeah,
and that's it. Fade to black.
yeah.
Fade
That's
to
it.
black.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the movie's about. I mean, like it says it right here in production that, Ari Aster devised this story around 2 central characters who were experiencing relationship tensions verging on a breakup, and then wrote the surrounding movie around that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then he described the result as a breakup movie dressed in the clothes of a folk horror film.
Mm.
So that's pretty
I
much.
feel like that's kind of a weird description.
You
Like
think?
I get the breakup movie, but that's like calling like, I don't know. It's like
But
every movie has a love story, so then it's like taking a random movie and being like, that's a love story.
Mhm.
When like, yeah, there's a love story going on, but like, I feel like the movie is about like grief. It's about like how to deal with tragic events. It's like a constant common theme.
But it
like,
plays into their relationship. Like she deals with the most grief you could have. She loses a sister and 2
like if
parents.
anything, the
Yeah.
movie is more about Danny going through the stuff in her life, and it's like about grief. It's about how you go through a tragic event and you have to deal with the emotions and needing support from people around you to get through it. Pele talks about how he lost his parents and how people helped him get through it, and it's just like Danny's struggle with never having anyone that would help her get through her struggles, and then finally finding a community.
Mm.
It's like a grief healing movie.
Yeah.
Almost, you know what I mean? And like you were saying about like the people would match her emotion
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like help her not be alone in it and like help her get through it. And they constantly did that. Whenever people were happy, they were like doing this.
Yeah,
They like had their
yeah.
hands up in the air, shaking them back and forth like to like match the happiness, or people crying when she was moaning, when she was when the redhead was moaning,
Yeah,
they were moaning
then
with
they were
her.
moaning, yeah.
It was like constant matching of emotion.
But people talk about Hereditary. The theme of that movie was guilt, like over the sister's death, and like the family's dealing with the guilt of letting the daughter.
I'd say
go with,
this one's grief.
This one's grief, and I do kind of agree. I know you probably don't as much, but I do think it's like 70% grief, 30% breakup.
Yeah.
It's not full.
It's just weird
It's
because,
not a
like,
breakup movie, but it definitely has to deal with it. Like,
it's
you can't
weird
deny
because
that.
the breakup is like the smallest thing that happens to her. Like, what about her family dying? Like, how is it not a family dying movie?
Yeah.
Just because she breaks up with someone during the movie, how is that the main thing? Like, her family, her sister killing herself and her parents is like 10 times worse than her break. It's surprising that the director said that when I feel like the message of the
the
movie.
main point of the movie is that she finds someone who's not the boyfriend to hold her head up.
He was the bear or the beast, so like whenever she would, instead of him matching her emotions and talking to her, he would just flip it on her or just ignore it and just kind of move past it.
Yeah, the movie's like super symbolic.
Yeah.
The symbolism is in every scene. You know what I mean? It's like,
but I think it is. I mean, we'll obviously talk about it more, but it did it well. Like compared to High Life, it just it just didn't.
Yeah, for you in the YouTube comment. All right, we like these movies. Okay, we were paying attention to. Last week we watched High Life, and this week we watched Midsommar.
Yeah,
we paid attention to both. I'm telling you, High Life is overrated.
Yeah.
Midsommar is much better.
I feel like that movie just didn't pull it off.
It's very similar in the way it's like it's dealing with themes and it's very subjective and all that type of shit. And I just feel like this does it better. Like High Life is not
because it
as
captures.
good.
I don't know. I feel like it gets your attention more, and I don't know. It's just more interesting. With High Life, it was like there were so many.
Really feel for any of the
you
characters.
didn't really get. You were questioning things more, like, well, what the fuck? Why is this? Or if he's doing this, why aren't they doing that?
Yeah.
Whereas with this movie, it's like you can just enjoy it and like watch it and immerse yourself.
You really feel the characters' emotion.
I think it was just I don't know
that the last one, like High Life, lacked emotion.
Yeah.
It was none of the emotions were believable.
Yeah.
In this one, all the emotions are believable. Like the scene, the first fucking 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, and then her family dies, and they show her on the couch crying in Christian's arms. And the way she's crying.
The way she's crying, the way she's
And they
sobbing,
did it in
and the way
Hereditary, too.
how loud it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Hereditary,
Sobbing.
they did the same thing when the mom's crying.
Yeah,
It's the
we got to watch that movie. Maybe take a break from the horror-ish for a couple weeks, but when we do watch Hereditary, I'm actually excited to compare it to this.
It's just the raw emotion that they were able to I wonder how he gets these actors to do it.
I don't know.
Like, how does he?
He's
get
a great director. He's an up and coming young director. This
he
guy.
puts
He's
them
very
in
good.
that think about the worst thing that's happened in your life, and you the way you cry. Like, how do you get that out of an actor on film like that? It's
plus to
amazing,
provoke the emotion when you're watching, the sense of just being uneasy.
Very realistic.
And he did it. And this is obviously written, directed. It's not like watching a real video of someone's face getting busted open, because of course that's fucking disturbing because it's real.
Right.
So, but to be able to construct this. And I had that same feel, that I had a fucking pit in my stomach.
Yeah.
When that first entry scene, I was like, "Holy shit, this movie's fucking heavy."
Sets that fucking
and then when
heavy,
she was crying,
tone.
and it just shows him on the couch, and it kind of just zooms into them and fades out
into the snow.
Outside.
And that's before the title of the movie comes up.
Yeah,
Right? That first 10 minutes is
just shows you where this movie's coming from
and where the characters are going.
It was almost. It's almost it's okay. The movie starts, and it's we're gonna bring you to a real dark place where this movie's gonna be.
Yeah.
So let's get you.
It doesn't over-explain either. The first 10 minutes, it literally shows you exactly what's going on. The boyfriend, he's a bad boyfriend. They've been dating for 3 years.
Yeah.
He wants to break up. She's going through shit with her family. They die, and then boom, cuts to the movie. Without over-explaining or anything, or without dumping info on you, they show you how these characters are living in the first 10 minutes better than most movies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, the one scene where when they're all out, and then she finds out they're talking about going to Sweden, and she's pissed off because they're leaving in 2 weeks, and she's just finding out that he's going away, and they get back to the apartment, and it's the typical, he's like, "Oh, why? What's wrong?" And she's like, "You know why?" And she is in the right for being pissed off, but then he like switches it on her, and he's like, well, I wasn't going to go. She's like, well, you just bought the ticket, and like
he constantly victimizes himself.
Yeah, and he's able to
flip
like
flops it, which is super common in
Oh,
relationships. You know what I mean?
And I just thought like it was demonstrated so well. I just like was such a believable.
And then she
scene.
starts saying sorry.
Yep.
Right.
And it's
like,
so
I'm sorry.
real.
It's so real.
It's like
dude.
you're
That's-
watching a real relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
And then even with the friends, the awkward times.
Yeah.
Like when he tells her, like when she's about to walk into his apartment, he's telling his friends, "Well, I invited her, but she's not coming." And they're like, "Well, I mean, like, what is it?"
And by the way, you need to pretend like she knows that this.
Yeah. And it's like they're all like, "What the fuck?"
He's very like that. He's one
Yeah.
of those like manipulating, controlling people.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Man, what a good movie.
Great movie.
It really was. The acting was phenomenal. I thought the girl, what a great lead performance she gave.
Yeah,
Florence
really
Pugh.
good.
Especially, I mean, there was familiar faces, but for a movie that had the majority of them like foreigner,
Yeah, like 90% of them are
foreigners.
people you never recognize.
Yeah, yeah.
And she had that movie. Do you remember a couple months ago she had that movie Fighting in the Family, that WWE movie where she played that actor, the wrestler Paige? You remember when that came out? Oh.
Oh yeah.
She's the main character in that too.
She plays Paige.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So she's had a good year so far with 2 good movies. That movie was critically well received.
All the actors were really good in it.
Oh yeah,
There's
I like Will Poulter, that guy from We're the Millers.
Eyebrows, yeah.
I think he would have killed it as the It Clown, Pennywise.
Oh yeah, he would.
But I mean, Bill Skarsgård did such a great job.
Is he
Yeah.
actually British in real
He's
life?
British.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
He looks like it.
I didn't know the guy Jack Reiner who plays Christian. I didn't know he was Irish. I thought he was Australian.
Yeah, so
But
one of the things I was reading, like one of the cool. Well, it's not really that cool.
Oh,
but
let's cut to it right now. Let's go to the Chase's Facts corner.
okay,
Hashtag
yeah.
Facts Man.
So the one that leads into that was the only
Hashtag facts, man.
the only American actor I believe was the other PhD friend.
Josh.
Josh,
Yeah.
Josh. Besides that, everyone else is from another country. So, for instance, the Jack guy, he's Irish. He was born in Colorado, but
Mhm.
he's Irish.
Mhm.
So, like, I don't think he lived there for that
Oh, wow.
long.
What about
Moved
Florence
back.
Pugh, the girl? Where is she? Oh, she's British. Okay.
Yeah, British. Yep. So that was pretty interesting. But then again, at the same time, it's not surprising because the whole movie is about being in Sweden.
Yeah, right.
So this film was greenlit on May 18th of 2018 last year, and it premiered
Like, right after Hereditary. Like,
Yeah.
Hereditary came out, was critically loved, and they greenlit his next movie instantly.
Yeah, and not only that, it premiered June 18th, 2019, so just, over a year later, which is a very unusual short
Yeah, and I saw the
production
shooting.
for a
They
wide
shot
release.
it. They greenlit it. When did you say?
May
They
18th.
filmed it in July to
Yeah.
October, and then it came out, 6 more months later.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's a fast turnaround.
That is nuts.
That's not really that
And,
heard of.
Yep. So just like you said, the production was announced immediately after Hereditary was released.
It's smart of A24 too, because once this director Ari Aster he's skyrocketing.
Yeah.
He's not going to be making A24 movies anymore.
Yeah. No.
This is it.
Yeah.
He did his 2 A24, $10 million budget movies. He's out.
Yeah.
He is the next great. I don't know what he's going to do, but
Plus, Hereditary, that movie had such a build-up marketing-wise about how scary it was going to be and this and that, and then it actually delivered.
And
Like,
this-
I haven't seen it yet,
yeah.
but as far as like hearing about people talking about it, it was like, oh wow, that. And I was expecting it was going to flop just because the
Yeah.
build-up of it was too much.
and then this movie's everywhere. It's like on Instagram. I see
Yeah.
like ads for it. Like,
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Snapchat,
yeah.
on
Yeah.
Snapchat, it pops up all the time.
Yeah.
That's what made me think
It's
of
the
it.
aesthetic that makes it easy to promote.
Yeah,
because it's all bright.
It's
like
summer right now.
yeah, it's summer. It's
Yeah.
it's the movie's bright. It shows people
The
dancing.
colors,
in
the
fields.
flowers,
Yeah.
the like hippie like twig and flower,
Mhm.
the carvings, like all the carvings. There's so
Yeah.
many carvings
everywhere.
in wood. Like the chairs are all carved. The
Did you
walls
guys
are all
notice in the beginning of
carved.
the movie? I made a mental note when she's like in her apartment.
The bear.
She has a painting, a Swedish painting.
Yeah,
and it's
I
a
saw
bear,
it.
and the back of the bear is like a scene or
I
something.
wish I could see a picture of that. On
I
the
saw
internet.
something online that was saying like you have to take notice of all the pictures in her apartment because they
Yeah.
all.
That's
And
so
that's
odd.
crazy that this movie was done so fast
Mhm.
and how many small details they had stuffed
know.
into it.
Dude, it's the
pulled
director.
off
He
so
wrote,
well.
he wrote and directed it, and I'm telling you, this guy's next level. Like this
Yeah.
guy is
He
gonna
pulled
be
it off so well.
big.
It seems so polished.
Yeah,
You know.
like I'm really, I'm honestly excited to see what his third movie's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He did 2 horror movies. So.
interesting enough, this Hereditary wasn't even intended to be his first horror movie. This was supposed to be his first horror movie. But then Hereditary originally was just supposed to be a family drama. But obviously
it really is. You'll
direction.
see when you see it. It really is a family drama wrapped in a... Until the last, like, 15 minutes, it's mostly just, like, family drama shit.
Yeah.
Not until... I don't want to spoil it, but the last 10 minutes of that movie is probably... It's much crazier than the last 10 minutes of this movie.
Right.
And then the last one I'll wrap up. So Mark displays the eyebrows, that actor.
Oh, yeah.
In the movie, how he was explaining how he had an extreme phobia of like ticks and things like that, and he was freaking out about them. And I didn't realize until reading this now, but if you notice in the movie, he like puts his socks over his jeans at the bottom to like cover him up, so like and stuff like that. That's actually based on Ari, excuse me. He has a real life fear of bugs and illness, and like Mark, while filming this, he wore 2 pairs of socks over his jeans to ensure that he wouldn't receive bug bites.
Wow.
So he kind of tied that in.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he definitely played himself in the movie a lot because, like, the movie itself, he wrote it about a bad breakup that he also went through.
Yeah.
It's like, geez.
Crazy.
Guy, yeah. Next level shit. All right, let's
level.
go over.
Next level shit.
Let's go to the hashtag review, man.
Hashtag reviews.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the bad review first.
Yeah, because this is a good movie. Let's get the bad one out of the way.
This is a little unorthodox because it's not off the thing, so there's no rating. But let's just say this guy hated the movie. Everyone over here is pretending to be mesmerized by the artwork. There's good cinematography and acting, sure, but the story was bland and a lot of it had no depth. The graphic nature of deaths were unnecessary and are really just played to get people to talk about the movie, including the nudity and awkwardness of everything, and it just makes it seem bizarre. It isn't horrifying. It's just disgusting to force people to watch certain scenes. The parents dying didn't need to be so brutal, and to show graphic natures inside were simply unnecessary. Cutting away with scenes of a car hooked up to the house would have been fine, but they are trying to creep out the audience with suicide imagery and disfigurement. And the obliviousness of everyone in the cast party to each other going missing is astonishingly bad. Hey, guys, I'm just going to go follow this chick that's been calling me out the whole time. And I just ate a pube. Oh, that's cool. And no one seems to care.
Yeah, but they don't know it's a pube.
Right.
Yeah. They just say, like, the one friend, the goofy friend, Mark, that says, oh, that's a pube.
Right.
It's like, you don't 100% know it's a fucking pube.
You can mask a shitty plot, morbid imagery, and silly moments with shiny cinematography and good acting, but at the end, it's just a polished turd.
See, I don't agree with that. I think the imagery helps the movie because it's like, it shocks you, then brings you down.
Yeah.
And it's showing you the grief. Because, like if they just showed the car with the hoses and it's, like, implied, like, oh, she killed herself.
Yeah.
Or, like, it's not as shocking to the audience to see it.
Yeah.
And then come back down to reality and see, like, oh, man, like, the grief of this character. Like, I can't only imagine what she's going through.
Right.
That her parents and her sister died so horrifically.
Right.
Plus, like
showing us helps.
Yeah, as far as him or whoever wrote it, him, her, Zer, if they're saying, like, oh, they're so oblivious and, like, why wouldn't they know what's going on with the pube and this and that? The interesting thing what this movie did was, some horror movies, as a viewer, you're like, "How's this person so fucking stupid?" Like, because they blatantly, show who's the bad guy or what's going on. With this movie, it kind of kept you in the dark a little bit, where it did get a little like when they fucking jump off and crack their faces, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Then they explain, they say, well, we do that because we believe that at 72 you've lived a great full life. Instead of dying from cancer or disease, we willingly give our lives. It's like, oh, okay. So it's like Christian said, he's like, well, I can kind of understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So it was like, the point of it is like eventually shit hits the fan, but like to be like,
well, it's like
so obvious.
Bad horror movies say like Halloween H2O.
Yeah.
You call the the characters dumb and stupid. It's like it's because the audience, like bad horror movies, if the audience is smarter than what's going on in the movie, and you're just like, oh, that character's dumb, it's a bad movie. Like the character, the audience is supposed to be along for the ride, and I felt like this movie for 2.5 hours, it's a long movie. We were along for the ride. Mm-hmm. Like I never felt smarter than the characters. Mm-hmm. I never knew what they were going to do next.
Yeah.
And I could kind of see like their friends go missing. It's like, my goofy friend Mark is out banging that chick.
Yeah.
Like or like Josh, like, oh, he's pissed off about the thesis.
Yeah.
Right? That Christian's doing it too. So he took the book and he ran off.
I still think it would be weird to wake up and still not.
It's
find-
weird, and you can tell the characters are weirded out.
Right.
You
But
know?
I do kind of wonder if maybe they were like drugging them the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like they take
definitely.
mushrooms in the beginning, and then there's that tea that they drink a couple times, and they trip. So like, and they don't have Poland Spring.
And they're only there for
bottles.
like 3. The movie's only across like what? It feels like 3 days.
Right.
It's like 3 or 4 days.
And like they don't have Poland Spring bottles. They're just drinking whatever these people are giving them. So who's
Yeah.
to say that these people aren't constantly microdosing
Yeah.
and are just constantly tripping to help put them in the
Yeah, because it was obvious the times. Well, in the beginning, they just kind of their first trip was just for fun. But when they drugged them, well, they didn't drug them because they really drank that stuff.
and like it was for fun, but like that Pele and his brother knew what they were doing when they they're the ones that had, you know what I mean? So it's like they're trying to keep them under.
Yeah,
So you can understand why maybe you're not fully questioning everything the way you normally would.
And more open too, because mushrooms will definitely open you up.
Yep, and you're
So it's like-
you're in a different country.
Yeah.
So you're already going to be like, okay, like trying to go along
and
with things.
On top of it, we're going into the movie because we know it's whacked out and we're expecting whacked out stuff. If you put yourself in their position, they're not expecting to all this to unfold. So you got to kind of realize that. You know what I mean?
And I feel like
it's biased. In this.
Pele did a better job of choosing the people he brought.
Yeah.
Like it kind of showed you that like Ingmar brought the 2 British people and they were not ready for this.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like Pele brought 2 people who were possibly doing it for their thesis.
Yep.
You know, who are they'll put up with almost anything because they're there for their school.
Yeah.
And then he brought a damaged girl,
Yeah.
you know, who was emotionally damaged,
Who needed
was
a family.
basically numb throughout the movie, who needs
Yeah.
someone.
Mhm.
So it's like,
And then the Joker who just wants to
he brought the
fuck
Joker,
in.
who wants to fuck. Like,
Yeah.
The
so it's
fool.
like he
The
did
fool.
Oh,
it,
the fool,
it
yeah.
showed the contrasting of like how like one person brought these 2 people who sucked, and like I thought it was well done.
I wonder if he did. Now that I think of it, I wonder if the other brother or whatever did it out of spite, because know how he says at one point we were actually dating first, and then we broke up, and then she dated him or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's definitely possible.
You're like bringing them knowing like they're probably going to be some of the sacrifices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fuck them.
Right. Yeah, I like this. I like that review because I felt like it kind of made me like the guy that was sitting behind us talking could have wrote that review.
Yeah.
Like
You know,
this person feels like they missed a lot of the movie.
You know what's funny about that review is I feel like it's similar to our High Life review, because he does say in his review that he liked the cinematography, he liked the
Yeah.
stuff like that, and that's kind of what we said to High Life. But then we're on the opposite ends now, where we liked Midsommar, we hated High Life.
Yeah.
Because
And High Life could be, people can like that movie too. You know?
Yeah. No, see, with High Life, I can totally understand why people would connect with it. I think some movies you can connect with, you can get immersed in, you can believe, and then some movies you get hung up on something out of the gate, and then you just can't get into it because it's just it. You know.
Yeah. All right, let's jump over to good review. 10 out of 10. I can't speak, I can't move. Wow, this film really felt like I had dreamt it entirely. I had read the script before the film was released, so I knew it was happening for the most part. But oh my, from beginning to end, I literally could not take my eyes off the screen. This did not feel like a horror film. It felt like something much higher caliber. Some sort of immensely twisted fairy tale with dramatic and humorous tones, and then completely drenched in terror at the very end. The film was like Wicker Man and Hereditary had an evil child. Some parts of the film... What's Wicker Man? I never saw Wicker Man.
That's the Nicolas Cage remake where he gets burned up for the bees.
Oh, okay.
Bitches.
Yeah.
Some parts of the film even reminded me of the original Snow White. The wooden carved background drops opening up, introducing the scene, Danny running scared through the forest. It was unbelievable, and I mean that in the best way possible. It was a little tropey, but my goodness, it was hard to tell because it didn't feel like a horror for most of the film until the end. It was just incredible. Also, the ambiguity, how do you say that? Ambiguity and the look on who was really good or evil was amazing. This is a film that will really get the gears in your head grinding. A+.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that one.
Yeah, like I like the folklore. The movie does such a good job.
Yeah.
The movie does such a good job of showing you that, like, you can tell that the director like did his research into like, you know, Nordic whatever folklore, and it just felt so real, you know, with the paintings and the rituals and all that shit. God, what a good movie.
So the only thing that I thought,
Oh yeah, let's get to the plot holes part.
I think there's a major
mentioned.
plot hole
Okay.
with the 90 years thing.
Okay.
And here are my points as to why. Like Chase said, Pele talks about how his parents were burned in a house and he watched them get burned up when he was a kid, right? So the implication, because obviously he's from this place, the implication is that like his parents sacrificed themselves. They were the two willing, like those two guys that were in the house. But how is that possible if it's only every 90 years? And Pele's
That's
like
a minor
30
plot hole.
years old.
I had actually never really even caught the 90-year part at all until you guys had mentioned it.
Yeah.
Was it definitely 90? Or
Yeah,
was
Oh
they
yeah,
said
it is.
multiple
It even
times.
says it
Okay,
here.
so it's
They
not
say
like
it
9
multiple
years.
times.
Or
No, it's
something.
90. Yeah.
So now is it 90 years? Now is 90 years where they bring in these outsiders and do the whole spiel, and then also who's ever 72 dies, and then like when you are 72, they do that ceremony separately.
I think anybody 72 does that ceremony.
Yeah, at least where like even if
But
it's
then
not
I think they do something once a year because now here's the other big one, the May Queen. Remember they said, "Oh, last year's May
Yeah, they
Queen,"
had pictures
and
of
they
tons
show
of May
pictures.
Queens.
That's not every 90 years.
No, yeah.
And if you're killing, but then okay, it's every year, and they just lied about the 90 years to like make it seem special to get people in. Then how does this fucking community even thrive? Like, how could you kill fucking 9 people a year and get away with it? Like, even like these people are humans.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the people are going to be missing, and they're going to be looking for these people, and you couldn't be able to hide. Okay, not every 90 years makes a little more sense, but then things just don't line up there. But who knows, because there's no real definitive answer for it.
Unless there's some crazy thing we missed where like because they have parents. I was gonna say obviously Danny doesn't have any parents, but
Yeah, I mean, if you willingly join, okay, but if you go there and get murdered,
oh yeah, they're gonna obviously
it's kind of
notice.
just a little weird. So it's like the 90-year thing doesn't really. They don't ever explain what is it every night. Is it the Yellow House every 90 years? Is it
Yeah.
May Queens the May Queens every year because maybe they have to bless the lands every year, and then the 72 thing is whenever someone's 72.
Yeah.
But the 90-year thing is the Yellow House.
Yeah, maybe the 90-year thing is like the culmination of every single ritual that they do, right?
It's just maybe it's the Yellow House thing.
Like in order to do the Yellow House, they need 2 elders.
Well, then
there needs to
again,
be 9 people.
If he watched his parents' house burn, he's not 90 years old.
Right.
You know.
So then maybe like did he say
house? He did say house.
He said house, and he said this community is what helped me get through that pain.
So
maybe he did just become an orphan and then somehow.
Because if he just said burn, but I feel like I remember he said house too. But if he just said burn, then you could say they dropped, and then they just burned
that's what someone else said. Yeah. Maybe he watched his parents turn 72, jump off a fucking thing, and then watch their bodies get burned up. But he did say house.
House, yeah.
So there's a couple plot holes there. And then I mean this one's minor, but it was just kind of like a personal kind of gripe. I thought it was kind of weird how strict the cult was with everything, and how like fine-tuned and polished all their ceremonies and everything felt, but yet like then until it got to the point where it's like fuck this guy, then it's like now I can just murder you mercilessly, like I can just skin you alive in the next room. But it's up to the disabled people to decide what the rules are here until I'm mad and I want my way. Then I can just bang you over the head with a fucking mallet and drag your body out and bury your foot in the garden and fucking do all this weird shit. And then like the 9 sacrifices, like kind of felt like they kind of did a little loophole there, whereas like you didn't really sacrifice 9 people in that house. A lot of them were like skin bags, like literally just skin that you're burning with hay, like. But I mean, it's a crazy cult, so I guess it doesn't really.
But at the same time, maybe each hay person, like one had flowers on his eye. Maybe each of them means something. Like one's in a bear.
Yeah, maybe it means
one's 2 innocent villagers, one's 2 elders, and the 4 outsiders are all different. One had stuffed apples, one had flowers in his eye.
The thing I saw about like the bear and the apples was that it was something to do with like fertility and like how like rebirth. That every 90 years signifies like a rebirth into the next era, and like that also coincides with Danny's story, how she went through this traumatic thing and is kind of leaving her old life because obviously she's joining the cult. She's pretty happy at the end. So like it's rebirth for her, and like being put in a bear like he was like the child inside the beast,
Mhm.
and then by burning that beast, it's like getting rid of the old evil, and like it's all about grief. It's all about getting over your pain and sharing your pain with a community.
Yeah.
And like maybe that's what the whole ceremony symbolizes, is like sacrificing. Like you have to go through great pain in order to get on the other side, which is 90 years of
Mhm.
just living blissfully in this fucking community. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because they don't kill each other, obviously.
No.
You know, they live happily when there's no outsiders and shit.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what I saw. Like the only thing, and like I guess like the fruit in the stomach, something to do with fertility, like fertile insides or something like that. But
Oh.
it's all unexplained. It's hard to fucking.
I think we broke down this movie pretty well. I think let's move over to our
Pretty
review
well.
segment, where we give them 24 out of 24 review score
8 out of 8.
for
24 out of
A24.
824s.
Yeah, 24 out of 824s.
Yep, 24.
Where we each get 8 points and we review it.
Yeah, here we go.
Let's start off with you, Chase. What do you think?
Ugh,
Out of 8, what are you
it's
going to
tough.
give it?
I mean, I'm trying to decide if I would go full 8 or
Now,
7.
before we do our reviews, we've never been in this predicament. What can we do for like 7.5? Like, should we do, what kind of scale are we working on here?
Hard.
Is it a 50-point scale where it's 7.5 and then 8? You know what I'm saying? Or is it like a
I would just do rounded
quarter
numbers.
scale where it's 7.25, 7.5, 7.75? Because, we can't always give, like, if we love the movie, we can't just always give it an 8. You know what I'm saying? Like,
What'd we give the first one? 7?
I gave Under the Skin a 7.
Me too. Right?
Yeah, we all did. It was a
Yeah.
21 out of 24.
And then last one,
Last
I gave
week
it
was
2.
an 8 total so it ended up being a 33%.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you gave it what, a 5?
I gave it a 4. Chase gave it a 1. You gave it a 3.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So this week, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying, what kind of scale are we working with?
So we want to add
But
some.
what's
We need to settle on it
what,
now.
What is an A24?
What do you mean?
Like, is it have to be like perfect, or is it the perfect A24 movie?
Well, I mean,
Like, it might not be perfect, but
Yeah.
is it the perfect A24 movie?
no. Well, I think the review score is just as a movie as a whole. I don't think we're comparing it necessarily. We're not comparing these movies just to A24 movies. You know
No.
what I'm saying? No, I don't think so. Right?
Well, I'm just saying because I mean it's a out of 24. It's kind of a weird,
Yeah. Well, that was just a theme.
obscure theme.
But what's the settle on thing? Do you want?
Because I think it's a perfect A24 movie.
Okay.
But is it a perfect movie?
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
a
I think
bigger
we're basing
question.
on movies in general. I think
I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10, but I'd give it an 8 out of 8.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
on
like-
the A24.
As I'm saying, like, let's just settle on a quarter scale. So you can go 7.25, 7.5,
Really?
7.75.
That's a lot of options.
Is that too many options, Chase?
That might be too
We
many.
want to do
dude.
0.5s.
Well, let's do 0.5.
All right, we'll do point. All right, we're doing a 50-point scale. All right, so now Chase, after that fun discussion, what are you gonna give it?
It's like I really want to give it an 8, but then I'm trying to like reason with like giving it a 7.5 and coming up with a reason to say why I'd give it a 7.5. But I'm having a hard time coming up with anything negative from it.
I'll
Yeah.
go first.
Okay.
I give it an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I give it an 8 because even other A24 movies that we've watched that I really, really liked, I would be more comfortable with giving a 7.5 or a 7.
Yeah.
And saying it's a really good movie, but a couple things. This one, it's a lot. It has to do with a lot.
And
It's
if you
how-
compare it to other horror movies too, it's like this is like top tier. I think.
It's how
Yeah.
well it's shot. It's how well it's acted. It's the fucking colors and the aesthetic. The fucking daytime thing where it's day the whole time is
Yeah.
awesome. The fucking just the way everything played out.
Yeah, to be able to make a movie where it's in daylight the
The
whole
tones,
time.
it
Yeah.
never jumped. It never fucking broke character. It's
Alright,
the
so-
perfect A24 movie.
Back to you, Chase.
Yeah, I think I have to give it an 8 because
Okay.
the dilemma was I wanted to like maybe try to be like I don't know if we'd say reasonable, but give it like a 7.5. But there's nothing bad about
I
it.
found nothing wrong with
There's
it,
nothing
and
wrong
I have
with it.
no reason not to give it an 8.
I was gonna maybe say time, but no.
I
The
think I can
movie
easily
flowed fine
say
to
this
me.
would probably be one of my favorite that we'll ever do.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Looking back,
and I think
Yeah.
Hereditary. Once we do that, I
get
think that's
to
another
30,
one.
30 movies.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. So I'm gonna give it an 8. Tommy gave it an 8. Chase gave it an 8. So that's 24 out of 8 24s.
Oof.
That is a perfect score.
perfect
Perfect
A24 movie.
score.
perfect.
Recommend
Perfect
it.
Midsommar.
You know, some people will not like this movie.
But then,
Yeah.
like,
But I
but
still
then
recommend
it would
it.
be hard to compare this to other movies and be like this versus Shawshank Redemption. Like, it's like hard to be like,
Yeah, but for a horror thriller, right? A psychological thriller,
yeah,
this movie's perfectly acted, expertly filmed, perfectly written. I mean,
Yeah.
you can compare genre movies.
yeah.
You know, and it's very subjective. Like, you know, this isn't going to go down as one of the best movies of all time, but like,
I think the only thing is that this is more like you can like I think you could probably like 9.5 out of 10 people who would watch Shawshank would like it. I don't think that many out of
yeah,
I think people wouldn't like this movie for a lot of reasons. Like maybe it's too hard to watch. It's
same for a movie like Pulp Fiction.
It's
though.
gory or like it doesn't make you have to read into it. It's like the people behind us, dude. Like that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. I'm like, how is this? How can they watch a movie like this and talk that much?
Yeah.
Like, how much are you missing?
Yeah.
Like you're
Oh,
gonna
I
come
like
out of
the
this
cow.
movie. You're gonna come out of this movie and be like, I
Yeah.
like the upside down shot and the cow and it's like they're not picking up on the small things because they're
Yeah.
fucking so distracted. I feel like a lot of people like would.
Well, like say you compare Shawshank to Pulp Fiction. You know, one's a jail
Yeah.
drama and one's a crime noir movie.
yeah,
You know, but
Yeah.
like one's told in a non-linear style and one's a basic drama. You know,
yeah, and I feel like there'd probably be a lot
but
of
both
people
are classics. So it's not like
Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of people that wouldn't like Pulp Fiction because of that.
that's what
like,
I'm saying.
Like some like middle-aged lady who like lives across the street, like you know what I mean? They'd be like, I'm Pulp Fiction, like I'm not really into those kind of
but
movies.
God, that
like,
Morgan Freeman, right?
like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a shooting and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm not into action movies. Like they wouldn't even understand.
That's what I'm saying. Like every movie's subjective, but for
Yeah.
us, it's an
This
8.
is- oh,
That's
man,
a
this is
24 out of
definitely
824s.
This is my
Perfect
pill,
score.
dude.
This is top tier for 824.
This is
Well,
my pill.
it would just be like High Life, where there's some people that like it, where us we're like, oh, like why wouldn't they just overthrow? Why would we do this? And like you can't get into it, and then like you think of people with this movie could be the same thing, and be like, oh, how'd they not know something was up, and blah blah
Yeah,
blah. You
well,
know,
I would just leave. I would
Yeah.
just leave.
You
Yeah.
can't. They're 4 hours into the depths of Sweden.
And you're
Yeah.
and you're on drugs.
Yeah, and they're drugged up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, see, at least that was a good explanation. Where like last time we were talking, like, well, why wouldn't I know that they had to reset the thing 24 hours, or they they had to sign in and actually do it to get life support, but like why wouldn't they try to like I
Even
don't
when you
know.
travel and you're in a different state, you feel like
yeah
I can't really crash into the bumpers too much because I'm like I need to know where I am and what I'm doing.
yeah
And I've come here to do this.
yeah
You know, it wouldn't be until it's too late that you would feel like, okay, I'm at the point where I'm just gonna run straight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's too late at that point. They've already been hit over the head with a giant mallet.
yeah
Well, we loved it.
yeah
Loved
And
it.
that's our review of Midsommar.
Midsommar.
All right, well,
Midsommar.
check in back with us next week for another episode of the A24 Pod.
Yeah,
Thanks, everybody.
well, have a good one.
Bye-bye.